For as long as I can remember, I have never felt like a girl. And when I was younger, I just remember when my mom would put me in dresses, and I would just bawl my eyes out, just cry. Just like, I hated it. My mom would bribe me with things like money, food, and I just always, when my neighbor was a boy, we'd always play together. We'd always play like cops and robbers, and I just never understood why I was different than him. I never got that. My name is Trevor Topol. I'm 21 years old. I was born in the wrong body. For all my life, I thought something was wrong with me until after high school, and then I found out there are others like me. And it helped me feel not so alone anymore. You know, I went through a lot of depression. I went through a lot of counseling. I was in a hospital for a week because of suicide attempts, multiple times. I was addicted to drugs that I turned to cope with, and now I quit those. And like, this is a huge reason why I want to tell my story, so I can hear others and help them maybe not feel so alone anymore. And that's my biggest dream in life, I guess, is to help somebody that's sitting in their room, crying their eyes out, not understanding what is wrong with them, not feel lost anymore. It's not a choice. It's that you choose whether to live with being the wrong gender, or, you know, I mean, that's a choice. I chose to be happy with who I wanted to be, and I, you know, called a doctor. I found a therapist, and I chose to do that, yes, but I didn't choose this life, like, and I wouldn't put that on anybody either, you know. I guess I hope that I can help others and hopefully change how people see trans people. I love my family. They have been so great throughout everything. All my sisters have been so helpful when it comes to taking me to doctor's appointments, helping me pay for my shot stuff, and just been so supportive throughout everything. I love my family. The person that was there for me the most throughout everything had to be my little sister. When I was in 7th grade, she was a 6th grader, I told her about my first girl crush. She didn't understand what it meant, but she was okay with it. And then, you know, throughout the years, I, you know, started to figure out what transgender meant, and that is how I felt. You know, I started with bisexual, went to lesbian, but never really understood, because lesbians were comfortable in their body and I wasn't. And I told her, and, you know, she took me to my first doctor's appointments for my first shots, and she's just like been my best friend through everything in my life, the good and the bad. Telling my parents was difficult. Telling my grandparents was even harder for me, because I am so much closer to them that it scared me that they were going to reject me being a man instead of just a gay female. But they took it so well. My grandparents had no idea, and I started growing facial hair. Well, every time I'd go over to my grandparents, which is my heaven on earth, they are my best friends, have always taken care of me, I love them, I would shave my face every time, and it would make me so sad because I love my beard. I love this thing. And I would shave it every time, and I'd get a little sad inside, but I didn't want them to know. You know, they still called me my birth name and she pronouns, and I was fine with that because I'd never wanted to lose them. It wasn't until I was at work, and I was working at a produce stand, that my grandma showed up, and I didn't shave, and I just started freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't have a razor like anywhere or shaving cream, what am I gonna do? And I walked up to her, and she just, you know, like nothing was wrong. Just nothing, like she's seen me before. And, you know, she bought the corn, whatever, bagged it. She gave me a tip, and she's like, love you, see you later. And I was just in tears when she left because I was shocked and scared all at the same time. I had so many emotions running through my mind. And I texted her right after she left. I'm like, do you still love me? And she says yes. And I started crying. I did. I just started bawling. I didn't care who was around, who saw me. I was just crying. And I asked her, she's like, why wouldn't I? And I said, well, because of what I did. And she told me, you know, if this is what this is what makes me happy, she supports it. And it was just like the biggest relief because they were the only two I was so worried about, you know. The rest of the family, if they didn't care, I didn't either, you know. But them, I go over there all the time. They're my best friends. So for them to be okay with it was just made me accept myself even more. Like, those are the only ones I really cared about. So if anybody else doesn't care, then that's fine. Then that's their life. I'm not going to waste my time with people that are not good for me anymore. I love those guys. One of the most amazing things that has happened, and it was recent, was when I got that check from a friend that I recently just made. I met her twice. And, you know, I had a GoFundMe started because chest surgery is so expensive. I was quoted $10,000. And so I was trying to save up for that, and it's very hard. And so I started GoFundMe. I didn't want to, but, you know, I was like, you know, I'm struggling. I really want to be shirtless and swimming, and, you know, I hate wearing this binder. It's very uncomfortable, and I want to feel at home. You know, this body is my home, and I want to feel happy where I live. And she messaged me on Facebook, and she's like, hey, can you meet me here? And I was like, yep. Why? And she's like, 'cause I have something for you. It was really like, okay, you know, what's going on kind of thing. All my friends met there, and we're all sitting there, and she hands me this card. And I was really confused. I was like, it's not my birthday for a while, but so what's going on, you know? And she's like, open it. I'm like, okay. So I did, and I just closed it right away. I saw this check, and it was for the remaining amount of money I needed for my chest surgery, and I couldn't even finish reading. She took the check out. She's like, all right, read it first, and then I'll give it back to you. And, you know, it said, like, I know I don't know you, but I've been, you know, following your journey, following your story, and I've seen what you've done to help people, and I wanted to do that too. And I just cried. I just gave my best friend the biggest hug, and she turns to me and she's like, it's real, it's really happening. And it still hasn't hit me yet, but it's still amazing. It's so weird to have your dreams come true. I look back 4 or 5 years from now, and I see myself sitting in my closet, like, crying all the time. And it's like, I never thought I would be here today telling this story. You're Trevor. And I was like, depends, is it good or bad? And she's like, you saved my son. He comes out of his bedroom now, and I took him to get his first haircut, and she was almost in tears. Just because, you know, like I said, I was myself and was so open about it, then others kind of helped with their parents. So I talked to my mom too, and I'm like, you know what, one of these days you're going to have to come with me, because I can't tell your side. I don't know how you felt. I don't know where you stand. And that's why I want to make this video, to see what they feel. But I'm really bad at talking to my parents about feelings, especially my dad. So I'm really curious what he's going to say.